first session of the conference, right? So before I get started, I kind of want to know why you all are here. Why did you choose, of all of the sessions that are being offered today, why are you here right now?
As we're moving toward counseling, I've had the opportunity to do role-playing between counseling.
Okay.
Thinking about it, to project onto
Fully online connections back and forth. We'll talk a little bit about how we might be able to do that. All right. Why are you here?
The school pharmacy, we're actually using a lot of SIM in our case-based patient care.
Okay.
Those scenarios.
Good deal. Okay.
Similar medical school, case-based, problem-based learning is what I want to hopefully immerse in.
Very nice. Why does your face look so familiar to me? Have we worked together? Okay, we've done something together at some point. Okay. Any other reasons why we decided to walk into this room today? All right, I think we'll be able to satisfy some needs here. So what we decided, we decided we were going to put together a proposal for the online learning consortium conference, and we decided that we would look at one of the projects that we actually have created using online learning, using video, using simulation to practice some skills, give our participants an opportunity to fail forward, and practice in a safer environment. So again, my name is Lauren Walton, and I'm a learning and development supervisor at the New Jersey Child Support Institute, which is within the Institute for Families, a family of grants, in the School of Social Work. All right, that's a lot, but we have an opportunity to serve we have an opportunity to serve child support employees throughout the state of New Jersey. We've got 3 sites. So a lot of our stuff is in the classroom, but we also are called to do a lot of stuff that's virtual. All right, and I work with, and have the pleasure to work with, Shanaza.
So I'm an instructional course designer at NJCSI. And my area of expertise is video technology.
Okay, beautiful. So when we're creating these instructional technologies, when we're creating these things that we would call learning objects, it really all starts with an idea. It starts with a brainchild in somebody's head that would be saying, it might be a good idea if we could, or I wish we could, or could we possibly? And when that person comes to us, we sit at the table and we kind of hash things out. Now, for us in our organization, that idea comes from many different places. It could come from our stakeholder, because remember, we're a grant-based program. So our stakeholder might come to us and say, hey, we have a new policy coming down the pike. We need everyone in the state of New Jersey to understand this very quickly. How can you help us using technology? So that's where the idea might come from. The idea might come from a trainer. So remember, we've got 3 sites. And at each of those sites, we have platform trainers delivering instructor-led training. So the instructor might say, I've been teaching this class for 5 years. It's getting boring. I need to zhuzh it up a little bit. What can we do with technology? Sometimes it's the actual instructional designer that's creating a course. They reach out to the technology team and they want to develop something that's going to engage using technology. In the case study that we're dealing with today, it was the instructional designer that went in, observed a class, and had an idea, and the person that I'm talking about is actually right there. So the case study that we're talking about today came out of her brain, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So this is a brochure that we've created. It's something that we use as a marketing tool. If you guys are interested in this or something similar to it, we have our contact information at the end. Please reach out. But it's the way that we market to our peers. So you all know that we have internal customers, right? External customers. So what we've done here is created a way to communicate the types of learning objects that are good for certain training conditions. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we're talking about training conditions, we're saying, are they occupying the same time and the same space? Or is it going to be virtual and not occupying the same time? All right, so let me dig a little deeper. So for our green, we're looking at synchronous and co-presence. So in this case, the instructor and the participants are following the instruction simultaneously in the same room. What would be an example of that? Yeah, this. right? This is, for us, green. This is synchronous. We're happening at the same time and the same place. Asynchronous and virtual. So this is when the participants are using some sort of device, a computer, an iPhone, an iPad, whatever, to follow pre-recorded instruction in their own setting at their own pace. What's an example of that?
You can take Adobe Spark. You can take an Adobe Spark presentation.
Absolutely.
On and just get it up.
Does everyone know what Adobe Spark is? Anyone not know what Adobe Spark is? Would you?
Good. Well, it's not as much. It's basically a program where you can create your own page. You can give directions, you can put in a PowerPoint slide if you want, you can put in your own video if you want. You can actually even, I had one that was linked to Kahoot, which is kind of a survey type of program. It was during the week that I had the flu and I couldn't be in class, so I just shot that to them quickly and they went to engage in it. Actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, they enjoyed it. Okay, very cool. So that's an example. Also, web-based trainings. You've all taken the requisite domestic violence web-based training or the confidentiality agreement web-based training, all of that stuff. The red for us is when the instructor and the participants are following the instructions simultaneously using the device in their own setting. So it's synchronous, but it's virtual. So what's an example of that? Happening at the same time, but not the same place. Live stream, which is, I think, is that happening right now? Okay, all right. All right, or webinars, right? Okay, and purple, which doesn't happen so often, asynchronous and co-present. So the instructor and the participants are in the same time, in the same place, but the participants are moving at their own pace. Any examples of that? It's kind of rare. Conferences, you know, at NJCSI, we do something called drop-ins. And so we have the trainer there to answer questions, but we have the participants running through simulations on the computer. And so if they're having issues, then they can say, hey, what the heck is this? Help me with this. And they've got a resource right there, but they're operating at their own pace. And so we've got a load of different learning objects. We only have 40 minutes, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but lots of really cool, exciting stuff. And I'm going to give you some resources to steal out there in the world a little later. All right. So in this particular case, we decided, I'll get there. My slides are a little backwards. So Shanaza sat through our 4D new hire course. All right, so whenever a child support employee comes into the organization, in the perfect world, they're going through our 1 week new hire course. And so what Shanaza did was sit through that course. And in this course, you know, we're talking about basic procedures, basic policies, what is child support, how do we engage it, what are the most important pieces of that business. It's not the most exciting stuff in the universe. It is actually some of the more boring. My bosses are not here. It is some of the, it can be relatively heady, a lot of legal language. It's very ripe for engagement. Very technical, I'll use that language, technical, yeah. So she sat through, she surveyed participants informally. So she sat and she chatted with people and said, what's working for you? What's not working for you? She talked to the trainer, the lead trainer, what's working for you? What's not working for you? What can we do to engage? And I love this table here because it really indicates that there has to be a collaborative conversation. As a technology specialist, you can't just walk in and say, I think this is a great idea, and implement. There needs to be quite a bit of dialogue. And so what they decided on, what they landed on was, all right, we're dealing with a situation where we are synchronous and we're co-present. We are in a classroom where the teacher is training, and she landed on simulations and videos. So there are all kinds of things that you can do in synchronous co-present situations. Confirmations of learning online, quizzes. You can do micro-learning in the classroom to give the trainer a break. You can do audience response. You guys are familiar with iClicker and all of that stuff. So those are all synchronous co-present. But what Shanaza landed on was a combination between simulation and video. And so now she's going to talk about the video aspect. And later I'm going to talk about how we can maybe make it less synchronous using the simulation aspect.
So before I get into the process of how I created the video technology, I wanted to talk about some of the benefits of using video in your classroom. So I know some of you mentioned working in more medical fields where it's client and practitioner, and you want to kind of see what that would look like. So my background is social work, actually. So we do a lot of, especially with the Child Support Institute and child support workers, they do a lot of client practitioner work, right? So a client comes in, they have to interview them, and child support workers really have to know how to do that. How do they engage with the client? How do they do that in a professional way? And video helps you illustrate what that could be. For someone that's new and doesn't know how to engage with a client, a video that walks them through that can help. And that's essentially what I did, and I'll talk about that later. But some of the benefits of having video technology in the classroom is that there are three main pedagogical benefits that are on a continuum. So the first part is engagement. So when you're watching a video, it's a very affective experience, right? You're seeing images, you're hearing sounds, and that helps you engage, right? If the video quality is really high, if it's really well done, the sound is good, the image is clear, you're going to engage more with it, right? And because you're engaging, you can then interact with that content. So an example would be you're watching a video and maybe you're taking notes, or maybe the instructor pauses the video and asks questions, right? So when you're engaging and interacting with the content, that's the affective piece. It's a very feeling-oriented situation. And then from there, you can do knowledge transfer and memory, right? So because you're engaging in an affective manner, then you can absorb the content, which is more cognitive. And this is all on a continuum. So what I ended up doing, so after observing the class for a week, like Lauren said, I realized this is really dense material. There's really nothing fun or engaging about this material. So I decided to create a video for one of the days along the week. And before I created the video, I had to do a production plan. I had to make a production plan. And a production plan is pretty much a plan of how you're going to create this video. So that includes who are you going to shoot, where are you going to shoot, what day in the week are you going to shoot, when are you going to edit, all these different pieces, when you're going to write your video script. It's an organized way to make sure that you have a plan of action as far as making the video. And then once I made the production plan, it was reviewed by the lead trainer and other stakeholders, so everyone knew when things were happening. So once I created the production plan, I was ready to create my video script and storyboard. And I'll give you an example of what a storyboard looks like. So this is a storyboard. It's essentially just an illustration of what each shot looks like and a description of the shot. So the very first box, it's a wide shot of a classroom, and underneath that box is a description of what's going on, right? The second box is, again, a description of what you're seeing, but there's also a piece that includes the voiceover. So what audio is going to overlay that shot? And pretty much this is a really good way to organize how you're going to shoot your video so it's not all over the place, right? And it doesn't have to be anything artistic. You can use stick figures. And this is just a basic way to organize your video production. So once I created the video script and the storyboard, I shot the video footage. And I'll talk a little later about some tips for filming if you do decide to film. And then once I shot the video and edited it, I introduced a pilot video that was shown in class. And after the pilot was viewed, the trainer gave me feedback, just so that I knew what needed to be changed. I made the changes, and now it's being used in the 4D class. So I wanted to show you what that video looks like.
Hi, my name is Michelle Johnson. I'm a public health and welfare youth. Really proud of I have all of the documents. Help me figure out what information I need.
So now there's text coming up, and the instructor would literally pause the video and ask the class, if a client came in with this scenario, what would be the first steps you would take? So the instructor would ask, the class would answer, and then we'd move forward. And again, it'd be paused. They'd have time to answer each question.
Right, of course, with your address. We live on Population Street, free from journey. Actually, Franklin was born in Franklin, New Jersey. Is there anything else you need?
And then this is the final questions that the instructor would present to the class.
Right. That is Daniel Smith. Sorry, I was back to mention that earlier. I think you have everything that you need from me. I need to find his case stuff. He was the right in Springfield, New Jersey. I'm really helped get him to pay. I reached out to his sisters, and I feel like he's valued. Is there any other information that you need from me?
We have one more question. Or two more, I think. Yeah, two more questions. So these are all terms that the child support workers would know, like NCP and stuff like that. Right. So that was a video we introduced to the case initiation part of that 4D course. So if you, for some reason, don't have the budget to buy a camera or film, you can always utilize videos that exist, right? And you can use different online video platforms to find videos. So YouTube is a great one, right? YouTube has a bunch of videos. YouTube.com/education is a channel geared towards educators, so you can find a lot of material on there for classrooms, things like that. TED.com is a really good one. They have a lot of great speakers and talks that you can use. Ed.TED.com is focused on, again, education and educators. MIT's YouTube channel is also really good. They have a lot of science and technology videos, very high quality, that you can use. Khan Academy is also a really good one. A lot of explainer videos for math, for science. And then my personal favorite, pbs.org. They have a lot of great television shows, documentaries that you can access. The last three are subscription-based online video platforms, but I included them because they also have educational videos that you can use. So Hulu, Netflix, iTunes University, they have documentaries on there that you can utilize. Some TV shows that you can utilize depending on what your course is. If you do decide to film, and that's something you really want to do, here are some filming tips. So the first filming tip is to film in a space with good lighting. Again, going back to engagement, if you want your student, participant, viewer to engage with the video, you want it to be clear, right? So for clarity to happen, you have to have good lighting. So in a space like this, I might open up the windows to let in more light. You can also film outside. That's one of my favorite things to do because natural sunlight, in my opinion, is the best light to film in. If you're filming, use a microphone. You don't want to rely on the mic that comes with the camera because the sound quality isn't as good. So if you do film and you have great images, but the sound is awful, that affects engagement. So you want to use a mic. You could use something like this, right? This is a wireless mic, but they have a lot that attach to the camera itself. You can use something like a boom mic that attaches to the camera. And then you want to film with a tripod. That's a tripod back there, for those of you who don't know. But it stabilizes the video. It makes sure that it's not shaky. It makes it look professional. And again, all of these tips help with engagement, right? And then lastly, you want to use a high quality DSLR camera if you can afford it. This is a DSLR camera. So it's a still frame camera. Traditionally, it's used in photography. But nowadays, a lot of these cameras come with video recording features. So you end up filming in very high definition, you can film high definition images with a camera like this. So it helps with the overall quality, which ultimately helps with engagement. And some beginner prices, if you are looking to purchase a camera, a Canon Rebel is around $300 to $500, depending on what your budget is and whether you can do that or not. So if you do decide to film, you obviously have to edit. So Some editing tips, you can use your storyboard to guide your editing. Remember, there's an image and a description, so you know what shot goes where, what audio goes where. You can use different editing software. So some price software include iMovie. Who has heard of iMovie? Has anyone used iMovie? It's pretty easy. Final Cut Pro is also another Apple product. It used to be very expensive, but now they've cut down the price, so it's a lot more reasonable. Adobe Premiere is another product similar to Final Cut Pro. And then Camtasia is the one we use in our office, but that's also another one. A free editing software I recommend is Lightworks. There are some features that are missing, but it's free, and you can use it to edit video. And I would say, so I am not a professional videographer in any way, shape, or form. I didn't go to school for it, nothing like that. A lot of what I learned was online. So if it seems intimidating, don't be disheartened. You can always learn online. And it took a lot of time, but eventually, I was able to learn some things that helped me in my everyday work. So another thing I wanted to talk about was animated video. So when I observed that week-long course, there was another day that I felt was lacking. So I created an animated video for that day. If you do want to venture into animation, I would recommend these two websites. So Powtoon is one, and Raw Shorts. So you can go online and utilize this software to make really engaging, fun, animated videos that you can use for your courses. So the video I'm about to show you guys is a video we made for day 2. And excuse me, that video is really just to help child support workers learn how to find missing parents. So what do you do when you can't find a parent who owes money, pretty much? So I will show you that. Is there sound? Is the sound on, Lauren? And this is, again, where the instructor would pause and ask the class, what does the worker need?
And what was the learning curve for this? Was it very difficult?
No, it was really easy. So everything, this video that was created was all online. I didn't have to download software, anything like that. And it's pretty basic. And they have tutorials right on their website to help you. And this was actually a template I used, so I didn't have to do.
You entered in the dialogue now. Is that
I entered in the dialogue, yeah.
which I've done with
Powtoon.
yeah. Is it free?
So it isn't, some elements are free, but if you want to use the higher end animations, you have to pay a monthly subscription. And this is Raw Shorts, not Powtoons. So anytime there's a question, the instructor would pause and ask the class.
So over a month ago, where did you see her? Also, does Rick have any relatives?
She has a sister. I saw her at her birthday dinner a month ago. That's when the sister was on. This is what I remember. Rick's sister and I had a good relationship even after the divorce. Unfortunately, all that got ruined with his sister's birthday.
A stroke.
He's angry.
And you can choose different
Characters and
So if I wanted to promote data analysis on video, I could just tune it in. Not just guys.
yeah.
You mentioned that you and Rick were married and you had your son Billy. Not only does this establish paternity, but a marriage certificate can be one way to find the information you need to locate his non-custodial parent. You also mentioned that you saw Rick with his sister at his favorite bar. Relatives can be helpful in locating a non-custodial parent. Additionally, knowing the contact information in places where a non-custodial parent frequents can also be helpful in locating them. Lastly, you mentioned that Rick's sister told you he was off unemployment and found a new job. A child support worker can use the National Directory of Employment, ADH, to look up new hire reports, quarterly wage records, and unemployment insurance records. This information can identify pay, social security numbers, and address of a non-custodial parent.
Wow, that's great. What do you want to find it?
I'm happy to help. I will contact you if I see more information.
Right. So that was just a nicer way to present all of that information in a fun, engaging manner. And then I'll come back to you.
All right, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and go back to the video that we saw with the woman with the perfect hair swoop, right? And so what we wanted to talk today about is how we can convert a video like that into a modality that's more asynchronous, right? So what we saw was synchronous and co-present. We're looking at an instructor who is using the video to augment and add value to the course that she's teaching and platform. But what if you want that experience to happen at home or at their desk? And so what we did was added what we would call like an e-learning treatment, storyline treatment to that course. So it's an e-learning interaction. So we talked about the different types of engagements that we want to include. The video was affective and it mentally engaged the learner, and it allowed them to make decisions with the instructor, right? We want to be able to create that at home, and so we create opportunities for them to actually interact with the program. So I'm going to sit myself back down here, and I'm going to kind of show you what we created. Now, how many of you are familiar with rapid authoring tools? Awesome. Rapid authoring tools? Okay, so I'm going to tell you something new. That's good. All right. So this is, when I show you behind the scenes, it kind of looks like PowerPoint. All right, the idea of a rapid authoring tool, and I'm going to say this again later, I have a slide for it, but when we create a rapid authoring tool, we're creating in something that looks like PowerPoint. All right, I'm a platform trainer. I've been in the field for 20 years. I do not know HTML. I don't know that I'm ever going to know HTML. I do not know how to code. I'm not sure if it's going to happen for me in my life. And it's probably because they have given me these things called rapid authoring tools that make me look like a superstar without knowing how to do any of this stuff. They are very often, PowerPoint-based software programs that allow you to incorporate really awesome engagements, all right? So looks like a PowerPoint slide, right? You've got a hyperlink that you've added here.
Hi, my name is Michelle Johnson. I was supposed to come to the program agency. Really need to file for child support for my son. I have all of these documents. I have to figure out what information I need.
And so what I was able to do was steal Shanaz's awesome video and embed it right into Storyline and add questions. Again, I didn't have to do anything special to get these questions in here. I'll show you later. It was a template. There's a quizzing template that I used. I typed in the question, I typed in the answers, and it made me look like a rock star.
So I have a question. So is she an actress or is she a sim person? Like who is she?
Well, if you ask her, she would say she's a very dynamic actress and singer, but, but she's one of our colleagues.
Yeah. I mean,
She's one of our colleagues, you know, so we threw it out there and said, hey, is there anybody out here that would be interested? And you don't know this woman, she's a wonderful and hilarious person to work with, but she enjoys being in the public eye. Yeah, she is very good. She is very good. And you know what? You have someone in your department like that.
Yes.
Shanaza and I, neither one of us are very interested in
Yeah.
being in front of the camera, but there's someone in your department that's, you know, they did theater in high school, and that's that person. But you do want to make sure that they're good. You do want to make sure there's some great stuff online to help people get comfortable in front of the camera.
Yes.
Really great tutorials. And so I'm going to give the wrong answer here. There's a submit button. I didn't put that button in there. That's a template. Okay. And so what I did was some sort of remediation here. So they also include remediation. If you get the answer wrong, they'll tell you it's wrong. Okay. Another hyperlink. And so identify pieces of information that can be used to establish a customer service number. These are all the questions that are being asked by the instructor when it's instructor-led. But we're putting it in here. So if they happen to be taking this as a refresher back at their desk, they can do that.
I've always seen my son's birth certificate. He was born on August 8, 2013. His name is Michael Smith. I also have his social security card. I brought mine to home. Maybe my baby social security.
I'll just do one more.
Mine is July 27, 1989. Is there any other information?
I know you see how the continue button popped up. Anyone familiar at all with timelines? Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about timelines when I show the backstory here, or when I lift the veil on here. So I hit my continue button. There's some more information. So you see what's happening here. They answer the question. This is that fail forward concept. You know, failing forward is a great thing to do for people, you know, because they're invested in the answer. And so, here she goes.
Right, of course. Give me our address.
I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to stop. You guys get the gist? What I'm doing here?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So rapid authoring tools, like I said, they make you look like a superstar without having to know all of that, you know, fussy coding and stuff like that. I need to take an HTML class. I do. These are some of the industry favorites. These are some industry favorites. So we are a storyline house. We love Articulate Storyline. They have a lot of products out there. So we're Storyline 2. I think we're Storyline 2. But there's a product out there called Storyline 360 that just came out that's really focused on mobile devices. Now we work with the state, so you know that's really not going to be important to us for the next 20 years. So, and that may not be true. I don't know. It's probably true. But you know, you've got 360. There are a lot of awesome things. A lot of people love Lectora. Anybody familiar with Lectora? I don't like this product. Yeah, okay, thank you. I don't like it. It's not user friendly. It's cumbersome. I'm just not but there are some people that live and die by Lectora. You know, you're gonna find what you like. When we go to conferences, we get into little battles about what's the best rapid authoring tool. There's some like die-hard, I love Captivate people in the world. Anybody in this room is a Captivate person? You're a Captivate girl. Yeah. Storyline and Captivate compete. They compete. The reason why I like Storyline, and I'm going to say this in a second, it's more like PowerPoint, I think. Would you think? Have you looked at Storyline yet? No. Take a look. Have you paid for Captivate yet, or are you still in your trial? Oh, darn it. Okay. All right. I'm trying to convert. But Articulate, Captivate, fabulous product. It really is a fabulous product, does some really awesome things. I think you can be a little bit more creative, they say, with Captivate. So you can get in easier and do the HTML stuff with Captivate. Maybe. maybe. It is similar. And if you don't have the budget, and how many of you guys are thinking, that's real nice, but I don't have the budget? Okay, all right. There's a free plugin to PowerPoint called Office Mix. All right. Now, you could create what I created here for free with Office Mix. All right, you're going to have to get real familiar with your hyperlinks, your animations, all of that stuff, but you could create that. You could, you could do a lot of really awesome simulation stuff using hyperlinks in Office Mix. And Office Mix has a lot of the interactions, the quizzing, and all of that stuff.
I think last time I checked, you better have a Windows machine.
Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah. Mac people, you're Mac? Okay. Well, never mind. Not really. Get yourself on. Somebody's got a PC.
What's the price of
Storyline, it's not cheap. They have monthly subscriptions though. They do have monthly subscriptions that I think are definitely under $100. I think they're in like $45 range. Do you know costs for Storyline?
Depends on the package you get, your brand.
Yeah, it's pricey, but like I said, you can get a monthly subscription, which is nice. Telling you it's worth it though. It is worth it. It is worth it.
So do you know if like Rutgers provide any of this with offers?
No, you need to talk to your department head.
So anybody know about the ice spring license? So there is apparently was a Rutgers ice spring license.
Yeah, there is an iSpring license. iSpring is only available for Windows machines, so,
Okay.
and it does mimic similar.
Yeah. The cool thing about these is these interaction templates. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about Office Mix and we're talking about iSpring. They have preloaded. So if you saw the quizzing that I did, those little quizzes. Like I said earlier, you can literally type your question in, type your answers. It tells you how many times do you want for them to be able to try for the answer. It asks you do you want to remediate, if you want to do remediation, what do you want it to say. You can add video, you can add audio to some of these quizzes. And it's the power of being a beginner e-learning person. You can do interactions. So instead of just having PowerPoint with voiceover, some of these interactions will allow you to require them to click in order to reveal new information. I think that's very valuable. When I first started doing e-learning, there was this guy that I ran into. His name was Leo, and he was probably 70-something years old. And he said to me, Lauren, we really need to bring e-learning to this organization. And I was like, I think I agree with you. I agree. It's an international organization. People are all over the place. He said, yeah, but the real reason why we need to bring e-learning is because I can turn on an e-learning module, hit play, and then go about my business. And then when it's done, I get credit. Yeah, it's not really what we're trying to do. It's not what we're trying to do. So some of these interactions that you can create will require them to be present and be clicking things in order to move forward. Also, there's video. Well, let me go back. So I said the PowerPoint appearance. So you see this is looking very much like your PowerPoint grid. All right, it really is very user-friendly, I promise. You have your animations just like in PowerPoint. The menus look very much like PowerPoint, but you've got things like timelines here. So you remember how that the word continue popped up? That's a timeline. So I would pick this up and drag it over there so that it appear at 20 seconds. Does that make sense? All right, so it's telling you very, very simple stuff, very simple stuff. And like I said earlier, there's audio and video editing within the software. So you can fade in, you can fade out, you can increase volume, reduce volume. You can crop. I very easily cropped Shanaz's video right in the software.
You can time how long each section is going to jump for, which you continue at a certain time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shanaza said this earlier, and I'm going to say again for this, you can absolutely get most of your training on YouTube.
Yeah.
I have another question, and maybe, because if we ever plan to, let's say, use faculty and use, like even some of our, like students that are maybe on rotations right now, like what, do you guys have to complete like a legal document that you're using their video into like a learning
Right.
space?
It's a release. It's the standard release. Like, in order for us to do this today, we had to sign a standard release. And that generally works perfectly. All right. So some places to steal. You know, we're all in learning and development, and so stealing is, you know, a great thing for us. Inspiration. The Association for Talent and Development, awesome stuff. E-Learning Brothers, great templates. They have free templates and templates that you have to pay for, but they've got great free templates. The E-Learning Guild talks to you a lot about what's trending in the industry. Beautiful organization. E-Learning Heroes, again, really awesome place to see what people are out there doing. Like, they have award-winning web-based training that you can be inspired by, right? The Learning Solution Magazine, Online Learning Consortium, Tech and Training Magazine Network. I took the model for that thing that I created right from E-Learning Heroes. I looked at something that someone else had done, and I recreated it, and it's really not that hard. I'm telling you, I'm not a tech genius, but I know how to muck things up, you know? And I know PowerPoint pretty well. I think I would have considered myself a master of storyline after about less than a year.
And I would say the same with video editing.
Yeah. Less than a year. YouTube is your friend. All right. All right. And so that's all we've got. What other questions do you have before we walk out of here? How do we deliver? We have a homegrown learning management system. So for me, for both of us, we use a learning management system. So in our classrooms, we have a vehicle that helps us to deliver it. And we have a really awesome IT guy who's created that for us. The stuff that I create, the storyline stuff, any rapid authoring tool is going to speak in a language called SCORM. Right? SCORM compliance. You can Google all of that stuff. But every LMS that you're going to use is going to be SCORM compliant. So we're able to upload it to the LMS, and we can, right? And we can track. We can do all of that good stuff. Now, what other questions before we get out of here? Our information is here. We love to share, right? We love to steal. We love to share.
Yes.
So. I think they are posted.
I know they did this.
If not, email.
Yes.
You know, take a picture, email us. Seriously, because at some point there's going to be something that you know
Yes.
that we're going to want to take advantage of. All right. Did you learn something new?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.